What is twin flame delusion? How do so many fall into it who believe they are on the twin flame journey and have met their divine connection? What are the signs? And who are the most prone to falling into it? The definition of delusion is when an individual succumbs to a false belief system that is dogmatic and contradicts the natural flow of life on a healthy, positive level. They become so fanatic over it that they end up losing their mental health. I am of the belief that anyone can be prone to falling into delusion if they are not fully aware of the signs and in touch with their higher self. And that means in complete alignment with the Christ consciousness, the I Am presence, and in union, actual union and alignment, to where there is a significant relationship with the Creator, to the point that you are divinely guided, living in the present moment, not the past, not the future, but staying in the present, asking for guidance and divine direction and following it on a daily basis, hour to hour. This is something that takes a lot of dedication and awareness. And it can take many years to master, as well as many lifetimes. But if you set your mind to it, and you really want to heal at the in-depth level of the soul, I believe that it can be done. But it takes pulling back and going to that place of focus on conscious awareness, instead of allowing the outer circumstances and outer appearances, everything in the matrix, the consciousness of everything and everyone that's floating around, pulling you in. That is the key. So I'm going to go into the first group of individuals that are prone to falling into twin flame delusion, and that is the group of people that are continually on the internet, chat rooms, dating apps, social media, searching for their idea of what their twin flame should be, because they have read about it, they have seen YouTube videos, an image has been conjured that this person is wonderful, they would never do anything to hurt them, they are so highly evolved and have it together financially, materially, emotionally, and they're just going to rescue them from the dull existence that they are living in. Because, let's face it, if an individual is on the computer or even out in public in bars or events or whatever, searching to that degree, something is missing on the inside. They are not connected at a soul level. And when we are not connected at a soul level to the higher consciousness, the Christ consciousness, which centers in that heart space of divine love and healing that is so unconditional that you trust the divine creator and you have that faith that you are one, you are that spark, and therefore you are whole regardless of whether or not you are in union with a twin, a soulmate, or a significant other. So, most often, I see this happen with women and sometimes men who have never realized that they have a love deficit that began in childhood due to a very dysfunctional family. They possibly have lived under abuse, extreme narcissism. Their emotional, mental, and material needs were not met. They were bullied and put down, and as a result, never felt that they were part of that family unit. There was nothing healthy or functional about it, so they never learned to function in a healthy family dynamic or within the dynamics of healthy friendships, let alone relationships. And most often, there is a lot of limitation. They're very unsure of where they're going in life. There isn't an ability to focus on much of anything. There are blockages. They feel like a complete victim. And get their hopes up every time they run across a profile that, oh, this could be the one, not realizing that that profile may even be fake. It could even be someone who is fishing, looking for money. Many women in their middle years will come to me and they will tell me that they met this wonderful man on some other side of the world. They are 20 or 30 years their junior, and they just know this is their twin flame. And there's this huge language barrier. but they stay in chat rooms for hours going back and forth. They've never had a real conversation. They've never met in person. And I know, I can sense the energy that they are in complete delusion. I've seen age gap twin flame unions that have worked, where they are in beautiful unions on a physical level. And they did not have to work that hard to come into them. They didn't have to control the situation. So you see where I'm getting at here? Those who were raised in dysfunction and abuse often have very controlling personalities because their voices were never heard. They always had to convince someone in order to get their point across or express the need that they had. And when they grew into adulthood, they continued in that pattern of always working so hard for acceptance and working so hard to get someone's attention, all to no avail. So this is something to think about. The other aspect is also those who are looking at 2 or 3 different partners and they're trying to figure out which one could possibly be their twin flame. If you have to think about it, that is not divine. You have to go deeper. You have to look at sexual addictions. Addictions to the idea of what romance is. This is serious. It is an energy that can take so much of your life force that you can lose years, decades of your life that you will never get back because it will be too late at some point to reverse those behavior patterns. Because, let's face it, the older that you get, unless you have really worked with your mind and disciplined yourself, the harder it is going to be. And this is why so many women in their later years vicariously live their lives through other people. Sometimes it's family members, social events, materialism. If they don't have that, they turn to the internet, to all the glamour and what someone is telling them their idea of beauty and happiness should be. That is completely false. The next group are those who have been seeking with their heart. They believe solely in a supreme being, are highly spiritual, empathic, and very sensitive to the energies, as well as everything that is going on in the matrix, the collective conscious. And they have met their twin flame on a divine level in that moment of divine time. So before I get into that, I'm going to backtrack a bit for those of you who are new, who have never watched me before, is true twin flames. When that information is meant to be revealed, it will be revealed. And there is no getting around that fact. Many times twins will meet and it won't be revealed as to what they are to one another until many years after that fact, or even after one of them has crossed over in death to the other side. So, what happens when twin flames have met? Possibly they have shared a physical relationship, but they have separated because the other twin does not see the significance of the connection. They are not aware. It has been shown on a level so high that only the twin at the higher level of spirituality can see it. And the other twin does not remember. Or, in some cases, both are shown at the same time. And they know, and they admit it to one another. They're very clear on what the connection is, but one is married or both are married. They are bonded to those partners, or they want to stay for financial reasons. Those types of twins often ruminate on one another, and they often focus on what it would have been like to be in a connection that was physical with their twin. They often feel cheated in many cases. If one is single and the other has married and had children, many women will come to me and they'll say, it's so unfair. They prevented souls that were supposed to be here, that were supposed to come in during this timeline, because they are hooked up with this other woman. Well, the truth of the matter is that in itself is a red flag for delusion. Because if something is not meant to be, it's not going to happen. And just because your twin flame chose another partner and had another family does not mean that the souls they brought into the world don't have a significant purpose, because everything happens for a divine reason. And if you are not in a place where you can physically have children, or that opportunity has passed you by, there is another calling. And if you are in alignment to the God force, you are going to be shown what that calling is. And I can guarantee you, it is divine, it's high, and it involves a lot of responsibility. The next group are those whose twins have crossed through death, and the remaining twin on earth does not feel that they can go on. They feel their twin is pulling them to the other side. Their twin wants them on the other side. They can't go on. Everything is a wash. It just does not have a significant purpose. This also, I'm going to include here, can often fall under the category of those who have twin flames who are into hardcore substance abuse and end up checking out early, or are on that road to moving out of the physical body ahead of time, because they are so far into it. They are not going to receive help. They don't want help. They want to stay in that niche, in that circle, doing the hallucinogenics and the pills or whatever it is. So, all of this with twins that are well aware of these truly divine connections, but it is an impossibility, either through addiction or early death, must be aware that no twin on a higher evolved level who is on the other side is going to entice you to leave your physical body ahead of time. Because if that twin is at a level where they are open to becoming the risen dead on the other side, which means they are fully aware that they have crossed over and they are not hanging around on the earth plane. They are not trying to give you continual messages. They are very clear about soul evolvement. That's what they're going to want to be doing on the other side. And they're going to want that for you as well. So, the most important part of this message is evolution. When these signs show up that you are slipping into the delusion that comes from all the dogma that is out there, that is basically saying twin flame or bust, you have to have this union, or you're not in spiritual alignment. If your twin is not drawn to you, then there's something wrong with you. You're off if they're not coming to you and wanting a physical union. All of that is absolute hogwash. I have met master teachers who are highly evolved that have known who their twin flame is for 60 years. They're in their 80s or 90s, and they are fully aligned with the God force. Their twin simply wasn't ready in this lifetime, and may not be for a number of lifetimes. And this is what separates the individual who is attaining soul mastery, who is consciously aware of it, as opposed to the spiritual dabbler. Because dabblers can easily fall into delusion. So, when you are to that point of full understanding about twin flame connection, another thing that will happen is you may have many experiences with your twin for a number of years. And then all of a sudden, those experiences stop. And most of the time, people will come to me and they will say, has my twin forgotten about me? Are they so beyond in the upper realms that they've completely released my very existence? No, that's never the case. But they are shedding the lower emotions of the human. They are shedding the past. They are not living in the past when they get to that point. When they get to that point, it's all about growth. It's all about evolution. So, you are to raise your vibration, as difficult as it is in the beginning stages, to come into that higher consciousness, that Christ conscious. Now, I will tell you this, as time progresses, you will shed so much that it will become easier. The longing, the sorrow, the deep depression, the loneliness, that will go, because the more in alignment that you become with the God force, the more your faith is going to build. And you will have that reserve of energy to where whatever challenge you are facing in your life, when something breaks loose that looks like you're never going to be able to solve it on your own, it will just kick in. You'll have that divine knowing, that divine faith, and instead of commiserating and complaining and being the victim, you will automatically go to prayer. You will turn to Scripture. You will meditate. You will pray. You will ask. And that peace will come in your heart, and you will know that you are in divine alignment. So this is what it is all about. If you are to the point where you are always delving and always focusing about what your twin is doing, and if they're alive, you are combing the internet, you are combing social media, and you are fretting and stewing about how they're living their life, and oh, this is so bad, and oh, it's so horrible, and they're so addictive, or they're into this, or they're into that, or they're with someone that's just such a loser. All of that has to go. You have to turn it over to God once and for all. Know that whatever it is your twin is going through, it is for a divine purpose. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Even the most difficult of lessons all have a meaning. They all have a purpose. Even when a twin flame commits suicide, or they get murdered, or they die of an illness because they didn't get medical care and they die ahead of time, which is very common in the United States right now. When they are on the other side and they have fully awakened and are ready to receive the information, they will be shown why it happened in the manner that it did, and you will be shown why. And you will experience a peace that you have never known before. I hope these messages have helped you. If you have any questions, if you want to contact me, you can leave comments below. All of my information is there. I wish you so much love and many blessings. And remember, you can put an end to twin flame delusion if you choose to come into your heart space into Christ consciousness. Many blessings.